Good day. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kringen, Seattle. This is a collage of some of my art. It is October 9th, 2024. I am going to show you this collage that I made, self-portraits, just to show you how dynamic this is my brain. I am a dynamic person who sees things in a multifaceted way. And current reality, I've never been a conformist. I've always felt like an outsider, kind of. I like to say oxymorons through the door, a group for loners, and they all showed up, meaning the kind of group that I would like to belong to is a group that appreciates everybody's individuality, as opposed to groupthink, where everyone is supposed to agree or argue about and be polarized with politics or nutrition or current things happening on planet Earth with clouds and rain and wind and storms. So this is like a symbol for the point that I want to illustrate. The multifaceted, multi-layered complexity of what it is to be human, to be bombarded with information. I feel like there's totalitarian energy in the world right now. In the United States of America, we generally value free speech, the freedom of thought, the freedom of individuality. I feel like right now we're being taught and trained to think that it's selfish to have freedom or that most people abuse their freedom. Some people do abuse their freedom, and some authority figures abuse their power, and some authority figures are dishonest. I'm supposed to believe certain things about certain politicians, and I'm supposed to believe other things about other politicians. I feel like this is a psychological manipulation and a form of psychological conflict, uh, warfare, basically. So manipulation, and there's people that think that, okay, I'm an omnivore. I used to be a vegan, and I used to be heading in the direction of being a carnivore, but right now I'm an omnivore, although I lean in the carnivore direction, but I'm an omnivore. And it's interesting that people think they need to be polarized. People either need to be totally vegan and plant-based or totally animal-based. And the polarization is where it gets us into trouble. The one extreme to the other, the extreme left and the extreme right. I don't agree with anything that the extreme left says or anything that the extreme right says. And yet I agree with bits and pieces of the left and the right. But I'm not here to defend myself and go on trial about my beliefs or my opinions. But there is technology. There are humans on Earth right now who think that we are smart, that humans are smarter than nature and that we can outsmart nature. We have genetically modified food. We have genetically modified the soil through synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, putting chemicals with gardening. I'm a fan of regenerative agriculture, which does not use synthetic fertilizers in the earth. So this is just one thing. And then there's a new polarization thing, which is thinking that you either totally believe, I'm afraid to say the words CLIMATE because that's a hot word. I once recently typed that into a social media website, which will go unnamed, and the site warned me, even though what I was saying was a polite diplomatic opinion that differed from the mainstream narrative about the earth and about the sky, about the weather on the earth, etc. I was saying something diplomatic and tactful, but it was a little different than the mainstream narrative. And I was warned that I better re-educate myself and that that's wrong information, that that has been FACT checked. So we are being conditioned. We are being um, prevented from saying certain things on social media. We are being trained like Pavlov's dog as humans to say yes to certain things and no to certain things. I'm intentionally being vague because I don't want to say anything that will get me in trouble on this platform, but it's so creepy to be an American, and we used to have more democracy and more freedom, but we have less and less of that. And I'm glad that I have my health and my freedom to make this video. This is another piece of art I made, hiding place. I feel more and more like I need to hide who I really am because I feel ostracized and outcast. Although I'm very happy that I can be all the creative jobs I do, I'm allowed to do. Um, but to some extent, I have to play a role. So the hiding place, we hide. Let's see, where is it? It's like a little, is it in here? Let's see. Oh no, where is it? Sorry, let me look. It's okay. Yes. There's like an abstract paint in there that I did. And then this is the one I think that has the little secret, yeah, the little box in there. So this is something I made when I went back to Antioch University and finished my BA degree. And this is the hiding place book, the SK book. So there it is. So I was just wanting to share that the polarization, here's another collage. I can just hold this up into the camera so it can stay on film. The polarization of thinking that the current things happening on the earth are completely 100% from nature and completely 100% from the fact that the amount of humans on the earth is making the earth have these catastrophes that are happening right now on planet Earth. You either have to believe totally 100% that it's all natural because of our selfish behavior on Earth, that we're polluting too much and that there's just too many humans on the Earth, and that we're doing certain things that are wrong with the Earth, or you believe that none of that matters and we can do whatever we want and who cares. Well, I don't agree with either extreme of that, thinking that it's totally natural or that it's a total manipulation with technology. I think that the truth is in between. I'm trying to say what I want to say without saying anything. See, I'm actually really afraid. I feel very traumatized by people that are criticizing and making fun of anybody who questions the mainstream narrative. I'm somebody who does question the mainstream narrative on nutrition, on the current events on the planet Earth, on the event that happened in September of 2001 in the United States of America, on the event that happened on, well, all of the big events that have happened. I don't need to go into detail. I believe in questioning all of it. And I don't know why I'm using my channel though to even say this, because it's not like people are going to validate what I'm saying. I just want to express the best thing for me to do is write poems and metaphors and rhymes that can illustrate what I'm trying to say, because I'm not a political activist and I'm an artist. So I'm here to acknowledge the unusualness of the world. I notice things. I think that sometimes what artists do is they notice things that other people don't notice. They literally paint or draw or write a song or a poem, or they act in a play. They write, a play and they go on stage and they act in theater and they magnify an unusual way of seeing things. Is it called iconoclastic? So what I'm noticing right now is totalitarianism in the world. And I'm noticing that people are being talked into thinking they can trust certain leaders, but not other leaders. I think that humans would be better off if we saw ourselves as our own hero instead of putting it all on powerful people. The bottom line is, does it matter what's true about what's happening? I think that it is a combination of nature and humans tinkering with nature. Let's just say I did a painting about this, about how there would be a war on planet Earth, the people that are going to go with nature versus the people against nature. And I feel like the whole thing has been hijacked into thinking that the people that are telling us they want to help the Earth could be the same people that are tinkering with nature in a way that they're not admitting. Because there is technology that tinkers with nature, but I'm not going to go into detail, but I've just read a bunch of stuff about it. And the bottom line is, does it even matter? does the truth about what's happening matter? What matters is how are we going to survive? I'd like to say, how are we going to outsmart the gaslighters? In other words, the people that make fun of people. Humans are being trained, though, to make fun of each other. I know that when I am online and I say something that people label as off topic, whereas in my mind, it is connected to what they're saying. But they like to make fun and belittle people who don't conform to the cookie cutter, politically correct way of speaking and the little cookie cutter that I'm supposed to fit in. I'm not even going to tell you what my labels are, but you can look at the way I look. You can label me. I'm left-handed. That's the only label I want to give myself right now. I tend to be on the more introverted spectrum of introvert, extrovert. I feel like we need to be our own heroes, but we need to question everything. But the thing is, does it matter? I feel like people are being bombarded with information and psychologically overwhelmed. And when you do that to people, it stresses them out to the point where they just want to know what's true. People want to know what's true and what's false. That's mostly what I see online is people arguing about what's true and what's false, and people thinking they need to be protected from the wrong information, people thinking that they need to be, one person says it's propaganda, one person says it's censorship, one person thinks they need to be protected from the wrong information. I personally think that we need to keep our freedom of speech, not that we should be rude and disrespectful to anyone, but we should have the freedom to question everything and have different theories. But then people want to feel psychologically safe. People want to feel physically safe. I am concerned about my dad who's in Florida. He's in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and we will know in the next, few days how much flooding happens in his neighborhood of Port St. Lucie. His neighbors have generators, they have supplies, they have extra food and water and hurricane-proof windows, and my dad lives in a neighborhood with a bunch of other people that are financially doing pretty well. Honestly, people that are financially okay that live in hurricane-proof homes are probably going to be way more okay than the low-income people that live in trailer parks, etc. So I think that people are tinkering with nature. And why is it that we have to 100% believe one extreme or the other? I personally believe that the climate is changing and that humans need to do better to take better care of the earth. I also believe that, and I know for sure that we do have technology to tinker with nature, and we could actually, and it was designed to use to help drought areas. There are technologies that were invented way back in the 1940s, or maybe even before that, that could be used to increase rain in certain areas that have drought. That's like the reason why it was invented, but it could also obviously be used for negative purposes. So any of our technologies, could be used for negative purposes, or perhaps a little bit of chemicals in our soil can be good, but then we've taken it too far. It's just like, I feel like there's people on this earth that are trying to control nature and experiment with nature and sort of create a Frankenstein. This comes to food and weather and medical things, all different kinds of things I don't want to argue about. Also, Elle Macpherson is being criticized for, instead of she had a certain disease that I won't mention. See, I'm trying to just be vague and not say anything too controversial. But the thing is, my opinions are controversial. But to me, my opinions are all about questioning the ethics, staying with nature. I did a painting about it when I was 17 about the humans that are going to stay with nature versus the humans that want to control and manipulate nature and think they're smarter than nature. I'm not religious, but I'm not an atheist either. So that's another polarization. People are either really strictly religious and believe all kinds of literal things about the Bible or whatever. I don't buy into that, but I believe in the wisdom of any religious philosophy, any spiritual philosophy. Like Joseph Campbell said, I believe in all of the wisdom that connects all of it, not any kind of dogma or superstition or guilt, fear, and shame. That is not helpful. Um, to believe in love, to believe in nature, to believe in the ecosystem, to believe in working with nature. So I am a spiritual person, not an atheist, but I'm also not religious. Some people think you either have to be a total atheist or you have to be totally religious, and I'm neither. Some people believe you have to be totally left or totally right. I am neither. People believe that you have to be totally vegan or totally carnivore. I am neither. People believe that you either have to believe that the earth is completely changing because of human behavior, or it's completely not changing and we're supposed to not do anything about it. I believe we should take better care of the earth, but I also believe that there are people tinkering with nature, with technology that we have. And I question whether they're doing it for negative or positive purposes. Obviously, current events would imply that maybe there's something negative going on with technology and nature, but maybe not. I might be wrong. Then I wrote a poem called The Right to Be Wrong, the Wrong to Rewrite Reality, because I'm dyslexic, so I like to rhyme things, like to make a short story long, you flip the switch in me. So the right to be wrong, the wrong to rewrite reality. In other words, gaslighting people is horrible. When people have an idea that's different than the mainstream, and then they're made fun of, and they're shamed, and they're criticized, and they're made fun of, and they're ostracized, that's a way of trying to shut people down. I know that trailblazers and people that are innovative, that come up with new ideas, are a lot of times made fun of by humans who are in this pecking order. So I noticed this in third grade when I knew that I couldn't be popular because I was too nice. I was a nice person, therefore I couldn't be popular, because to be a popular girl in my school in third grade in San Diego, I had to be mean to other girls and I had to dress a certain way and I had to pick on people. And I was kind of shy and people tended to pick on me. I didn't know how to say snarky, sarcastic things to people, to play a pecking order game and have like a beauty contest with other women, other little girls in third grade. I was more of a tomboy, like to run around with other little boys and get dirty in the mud and climb trees. And um, I liked the raunchy sense of humor that little boys had more than the little girls who were a little more prissy. Um, So whatever, that's just an example right there, is that I didn't quite fit in with the girls and I didn't quite fit in with the boys. I was always a little bit of a tomboy, but then a little bit feminine at the same time. I was a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. I was a little bit introvert, a little bit extrovert, a little bit shy, a little bit outgoing, a little bit brave, a little bit of a wimp. I'm a little bit of everything. Bada boo, bada bing. What was I going to say? Stinging rings the Kring is what I used to say, but the new poem I wrote is bada boo, bada bing. What is it? Spambot Kring. Bada boo, bada bing, spambot Kring, spambot Kring. To make fun of the fact that I'm kind of OCD, and when I share my art, I sometimes overdo things and I'm repetitive. And sorry to the people that are annoyed by my repetitiveness. I'm trying not to be so repetitive. I'm trying to say new things in each one of these videos. Oxymorons through the door, a group for loners, and they all showed up, meaning a group that appreciates every single person's individuality instead of thinking that it's a group for only certain kinds of people. How about it's a group for people who feel, I seriously mean that. If I ever started a group, because I'm not really a group person other than when I model for art classes and my jobs, I work with groups of people and I like being in the group because I'm the only model in the group and then everyone else draws me, or I'm the only actor with a bunch of medical students, patients, pretending to be a patient. A group for loners and they all showed up, meaning um, inviting people to join a group for people who don't normally like groups because they feel like they're the weirdo and the misfit and the outsider. So a group for loners and they all showed up, oxymorons through the door, meaning that's an oxymoron because loners don't want to go to a group. But what if there was a group that appealed to loners? And for me, a group that would appeal to me would be a group for people who feel like they don't belong anywhere and they want to talk to each other about their individuality and somehow support each other in feeling like it's okay if you feel like you're just a weirdo. It's okay to be a weirdo that doesn't belong, that maybe where you belong is with other weirdos that feel like they don't belong. So Elle Macpherson decided when she was diagnosed with something, she got a lumpectomy instead of, she had cancer. She got a lumpectomy instead of doing radiation and chemo and more extreme mainstream protocol that they recommend. She decided to do alternative things. And they're telling that the press is partly saying that she's irresponsible. It's like, wait a minute. We should be allowed to question mainstream medicine. My body, my choice should also include, shouldn't just be reproductive rights. It should include all medical choices. My body, my choice should include body autonomy. It should include choices for yourself. So you should be able to criticize alternative medicine and mainstream medicine. You should be able to criticize the government. You should be able to criticize and question any authority figure, including yourself. I question myself, but you should also trust yourself. I don't feel like people are being encouraged to trust themselves and know that they're powerful and they have wisdom within. So I love that Patti Smith song, People Have the Power. People have the power. We are powerful. We are very powerful. Each person has their own personal power. So I don't believe in bowing down to authority and totalitarianism. I'm not going to be talked into a totalitarian way of being. I feel like some very smart people are being persuaded to give up freedom of speech, thinking that that's going to protect us from some bad people, not realizing that the people, like when you think about witches being burned at the stake because they were demonized, these scary witch people were demonized. Look over there at the people that are burning the witches at the stake. Who are those people? Who are those people who think that, blaming the witches for everything? So what's happening right now? People blaming people over here, and then we're like, wait a minute, maybe we should also go ahead and question those people that they're maybe using as scapegoats. They're scapegoats over here. We need to look over here at the people that are blaming and labeling those people as the bad people. When you think about Germany in World War II, and you think about one group of people that demonized another group of people, and then it's like, oh, look at the people over there. So right now, whenever there's a conflict, the authority figures that are saying these are the bad people and we are the good people and those are the bad people, maybe we need to look at that shadow. The shadow projection, there's gaslighting, scapegoating, shadow projection. The emperor has no clothes. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in the movie Logan's Run or Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Do you know what I mean? Or the Stepford Wives or something. So it's very uncomfortable actually to acknowledge all of this because I like to think of myself as a truth seeker. But these days it's hard to see there's house of mirrors everywhere. There's shadow projections, there's scapegoats, there's gaslighting. I believe in questioning everything, and I want to feel safe just like everybody else. I want to feel psychologically, physically, mentally, spiritually safe. I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. I'm not an atheist. I think there's two kinds of atheists. There's atheists who believe that the universe is random and it means nothing, and we can do whatever we want and it doesn't matter. There's no karma. Everything is separate. We're all just a bunch of machines running around. That's the kind of atheism that creeps me out. Those are the kind of atheists that think they can control and manipulate nature and that nature is just some random chaos. No, I think there's order in nature. So, and then there's atheists who just simply don't believe in religious dogma. I agree with those people. I agree with an atheist who respects nature and the wisdom of nature and feels like the universe is all connected and that it matters and that there's synchronicity, but they don't believe in religious dogma and superstition and guilt, fear, and shame. And the fact that people use religion as an excuse to go to war with other people, which is completely unspiritual. That's like the least spiritual thing you can do is think you're supposed to go to war with somebody over religion, because that's not spiritual at all. Because to me, spirituality means everything is connected. I'm connected to you and you're connected to me. So if I hurt you, I hurt me. So to me, that's spiritual wisdom. So I feel in my heart, let's just say spiritual wisdom and synchronicity and heart and soul and nature. I love nature. I love Native American wisdom of taking care of the earth. So I feel like there's people right now tinkering with that. So there's different kinds of atheists, different kinds of religious people. Maybe the religious people that are into dogma and guilt, fear, and shame, I don't agree with. But the religious people that are into wisdom, actual wisdom, like love thy neighbor, forgive your enemy, listen to the concerns of your enemy, have empathy for the predator. I like to say in one of my poems, I say empathy for the predator, empathy for, stand in someone else's shoes. Why I like wisdom. Whether someone's an atheist or religious doesn't matter to me. It matters if you have wisdom to share and you're going to help the world function better and be a spiritual person that is in harmony with nature. And so I feel like there's a war on nature. Can I even say that? I feel like the environmental movement has been hijacked a little bit, and that there's a war on nature instead of we're supposed to be working with and taking care and helping nature. Maybe some people actually think that they can experiment with nature and modify things in chemical ways for the good. And maybe there are people who are sinister who want to create sort of Frankenstein scenarios that are not good for survival on Earth. So these are just some questions that I have. But again, I don't believe in one extreme or the other. I believe that there's some natural things happening and some changes that the planet is going through, and that humans can do a lot better to take better care of the earth. But I also believe that there's humans tinkering with nature and experimenting. I know we do genetically modify food. There's just one example. I'm thinking it's way farther than that. I think there's a lot more going on in ways that people, and I wonder if these people really think that they're smarter than nature, or is it more sinister than that? Is it a sinister experiment, or is it people who are arrogant enough to think that they can outsmart nature and sort of redesign nature? So that's all I was just going to say. And Hundertwasser is my favorite painter, and he was all about humans being in harmony with nature and having buildings and compost toilets and buildings that don't have straight lines, that are curved and organic like a tree. Look up Hundertwasser, Hundertwasser. He's from Austria, Hundertwasser. He's a philosopher and a painter. He's passed away, and he designed facades of buildings. He wasn't an architect, but his work is a little bit like Gaudi, the Spanish architect. I think I've mentioned him before, Hundertwasser. My mom introduced me to him as a kid. So I'm hoping my dad is going to be okay and that his neighborhood will. And I'm sorry for all the people that are suffering in the weather areas and the war-torn areas, all of the things going on the planet now that are a catastrophe. I am very sorry that those people are suffering, but it's overwhelming to think about. And I also, we as people need to take care of ourselves, all of us, no matter where we are on the planet. So if we happen to not be in a place that's having a huge catastrophe, I'm not helping the victims of a catastrophe by worrying about them and feeling guilt or shame or fear. It's not helping them. So I need to take good care of myself and do what I can to help those around me or those far away. But if there's nothing I can do to help people that are in areas that are suffering, I don't think it does any good for me to obsessively watch coverage on things happening in the other parts of the world that I can't do anything about. So I feel like people are being shamed into thinking that they have to have their eyes glued to all of the world events that are happening, as if there's some kind of selfish person if they don't tune into that. Well, it's like, wait a minute. I personally getting stressed out about all of the drama happening in the world it's not helping. Unless I can actually help the situation, it's better for me to not tune into that. So I'm going to go take a walk and model for some artists today and walk some dogs and take care of myself. Yesterday, I went through a really negative, angry mood, and I had to deal with my own inner storm in my own head, in my own mind, and my own body. So I'm going to try to heal from that, recover from that, and get my equilibrium back. So have a good day, everyone. Thanks for listening. It is October 9th, 2024. That's a collage to show the multifacetedness of me as a human. And I know I feel a kinship with other people who feel like they're very multifaceted. And it's okay if you're not one of those people. Hopefully, maybe my point of view is different than the way your mind works. The world needs all different kinds of people. Like Temple Grandin said, the world needs. She's a lady who has a PhD who's on the autism spectrum that I admire. Temple Grandin, look her up. She said the world needs all kinds of different minds: introvert, extrovert, loud people, quiet people, musical people, scientific people, intuitive people, spiritual people, atheist people, whatever. We need all different kinds of people. I personally think that we should work with nature and not try to redesign or outsmart nature. So genetically modifying everything does not sound like a good idea, but humans are so curious, they seem to have to experiment with things. Myself included, I've done experiments gone wrong actually, but I've also done some things that went well. So there it is. That's my thoughts for today. Bye for now. Check out our music. Kring Flower is the name of our album. Goddess Kring Music, Kringonian Pizzazz Poetry Book, art, music, poetry, photography. Go to my Flickr, Creative Commons photos, free to publish. I love to share my art. I have my art car. I'm going to be, I think, in a Halloween parade October 31st in the Georgetown neighborhood of Seattle. I think I'm doing a piece of artwork. I've been commissioned to do some art that's based on Tom Petty, who widens my jetty for somebody's comic book. I think I'm going to do that. So these are my projects right now. Thanks for listening. Bye for now. End meeting for all. Thank you for tuning in to Goddess Kring, Shannon Kringen in Seattle. Bye for now. Thank you for subscribing and liking my videos. Please spread the word if you like what I do. I know that I don't appeal to certain people. I'll probably never be popular in a mainstream kind of way because I'm pretty weird, but whatever, I'm doing my thing. So thanks for listening. Bye for now. Thank you for your support. Feel free to ask me questions or comments are always welcome if you're respectful. If you listen to this video all the way through and you have a question or comment for me, feel free. I'm open to questions or comments. That's just want to let you know that. And I encourage you to make music and art if you want to do that. Bye for now.